There is a lot shifting this month. Boy, August. It's been an intense summer, in case everybody hasn't noticed that. Jupiter is leaving the fiery position of Leo, and it is going into Virgo. While Jupiter does not necessarily like the constrictive quality of Virgo, it is still going to be great for the Virgos. For the rest of us, we're going to have to pay attention to the details and get really organized. After all, Virgo is about work and service, and it will require us to be meticulous and pay attention to the patterns that need to be addressed in order for the expansion that we seek. Mercury is also going into Virgo, and so you are going to begin to want to make some real shifts in the way of health and well-being. Each of you is going on your own spiritual quest in some way, and that is given sort of an added boost because Saturn is preparing to leave Scorpio on September 18th, and it goes solidly into Sagittarius at that time until December of 2017, propelling us into wanting to learn and grow in the way that is calling for your personal path and spirit. For some of you, that will make you want to go back to school. For others, it might make you want to show up in some form of learning, like a new diet or a new exercise technique, or learning about how to deepen your relationship. Regardless, there is work to be done in your external world, and adjustments will need to be made, and new structures will be required for your life as you are going to have to need these skills in order to navigate this new world that's being created. Venus is also retrograde, and it's in a square with Saturn for pretty much the duration of the month. And this can give a rise to tensions and in your romantic relationships, in your work associations, and in your friendships. So remember to pay attention to your inner peace meter, as you are going to need to stay on top of your projections and your reactions. And you kind of have to remember we're in the hottest time of the year, and it can make people feel very stressed and stretched. There is a Venus conjunction with Jupiter that is happening until August 11th, and this makes us feel sort of a bit excessive as it amplifies everything, including unfortunate influences. Jupiter will also be opposing Neptune for the next year, and this can create a negative effect on things related to justice, religion, and education. It will feel pretty much like nothing is kind of working the way you intended. This month is likely to be very frustrating and has the potential to create a tremendous amount of stress. You're going to be challenged to find a positive slant to move through it all. My suggestion is to not listen to the news and to focus on your small world and keep that pattern in your world in a good flow and symmetry, and just sort of let the rest of the world go on its merry way, because it's just going to have to wait for a moment. If you're feeling overloaded and you have a tendency to get grumpy, that might get exaggerated right here. So keep your focus on your heart and what opens love. Let the rest go, as you cannot change it right now anyway. There's just such a volatility that's happening this month. It forms kind of this tense aspect with Pluto, and so it's important to avoid taking on too much or putting too much pressure on yourself with projects or endeavors, or putting yourself on heavy deadlines with tremendous expectations. You'll probably not get to your deadlines, and it'll just upset you even more. So kind of keep things as loose as you possibly can. And it's not that I don't want you to go for your goals, it's just that I want you to not beat yourself up if you don't get there. Also with these aspects, exaggerating your importance or power, either it's kind of not the best to kind of exaggerate that. It's not the best use of your power. So a retrograde Venus aligns with Jupiter on the 4th, and then although it's going to typically be a helpful and beneficial aspect, Venus is also now very involved in the difficult Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto aspect, and it's going to tend to pull up some underlying tensions and social interactions in your end relationships. So it's kind of making things bubble to the surface that maybe you didn't know were there or you've been ignoring. So jealousies, envies, hidden agendas, and suspicion are incredibly possible right now. you have a tendency to want more than the world can provide in this moment, and it gets very frustrating. There might be a reactivation of some old relationship issues, past grievances, and or legal or financial problems. So I want you to kind of avoid any new financial undertakings today, because they might end up being a money pit as time passes. As you can tell, there's a tremendous amount of astrology happening this month. It's really been the whole summer. And so you kind of need to figure out how you can choose to breathe, find some inner space, and get air back into your life. Try not to allow the stress to create these knee-jerk reactions and make you leap from, say, one relationship to another, because your head is not really clear when you're in a Venus retrograde, and your head doesn't clear until Venus moves on, which is actually September 6th. So try to avoid making gigantic decisions right here. The question I would ask myself to navigate through this is, am I trying to get my own needs met, or am I feeling into the heart of the ones I love, and am I using my energy to open love for others? This whole month, Saturn is squaring Jupiter, forcing all of us to restructure our lives and our plans and our relationships. And that learning curve is just beginning to, kind of come up. And so I want you to think of this month as baby steps as you move towards the new goals that are in the forming stage right now. This isn't an end point right here as much as it is an opening to a new conversation, maybe, that you've been needing to have. So if we step out of the astrology for a second, thank goodness, and we go into the cards, you can kind of see from the cards that there's a time for celebration and breakthroughs on many levels, and to use this energy in the flow and in the direction that serves you in the long run. I don't want you to freeze like the rabbit card, but I want you to construct a steady pathway up the hill that you know you need to climb, and if you pace yourself, you will get to your goal eventually. Nothing is going to move fast, but you can kind of plan it out and accept the process, and I know we live in a world where we want everything right now, but for the next few years, those that make the most progress are being the most calculated and consistent. Living in the possibility or the dream or the illusion or the delusion is absolutely not going to be tolerated anymore. It's no longer enough. It's time to get down to work and to make the necessary sacrifices so you have the comfort and the financial ease that you desire. You may notice that where you have conflict with money and wealth and long-term happiness is just boiling up all over the place, and in order to get what you deserve and desire in the long term. But it will be worth it. So this is a moment where it might be a good idea to sit down and have a chat with your family, your mate, about choices, needs, desires, and long-term goals. Because based on the astrology, everyone is feeling like they might need a bit of attention so that they can help have a structure that they can calculatedly navigate in this process. I mean, when we create a structure, sometimes we feel safe, and when we feel safe, we relax because we have something that we're going for. The Jupiter going into Virgo is a very passionate sign, and so it's amazing what a little bit of attention to your intimate partner could possibly do to kind of juice your energy back up and help you focus back in the game. All work and no play makes everything really miserable. So yes, there's a tremendous amount of work coming forward. You need to really figure out where you can find the joy and really hang on to the loved one and we'll find out how it goes. Bye.